Hello, I'm Bob Ross, and I'd like...
The American Civil War was an epic clash that would change the course of our nation's history forever. Major funding provided by the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations, the Corporation of Public Broadcasting's Ready to Learn grant, the Jacob Climbing Ladder Foundation, and contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
All sound effects included in this film were created exclusively of Jake and Princeton by Jake and Princeton, and for Jake and Princeton, audio quality is not guaranteed. Prepare your ears.
We have shared the incommunicable experience of war. We have felt, we still feel, the passion of life to its top. Our hearts were touched with fire. Oliver Wendell Holmes.
By the summer of 1862, the Civil War was in full swing. It was the bloodiest conflict fought on American soil. Over 620,000 lives were lost in the course of 4 years, with more than a total of 1 million casualties. The war began with an explosive start. On July 21st, what had been expected to be an easy Union victory was thwarted by Southern strategy. At Bull Run, the Battle of Manassas, the Union had advanced to cut off a crucial railroad junction and take out the bulk of the Confederate Army. Both generals planned to outflank their opponent's left, but the Confederates' plan was hindered due to general failures in communication and in coordination. As for the Union, their overly complicated plan proved to be just that. A combination of successful Confederate scouting and failed synchronization in the Union weakened their forces.
A frenzy seized each man, and impatient with their small muzzle-loaded guns, they tore the loaded ones from the hands of the dead, fired them with fearful rapidity, sending ramrods along with the bullets for double execution. Private G.L. Kilmer, Company 1, 14th New York Artillery.
The fighting raged throughout the day. Despite impressive efforts from Colonel Thomas Stonewall Jackson, the South continued to be driven back. Once the fight seemed nearly to be decided, Southern reinforcements arrived.
The North had been defeated. Southern forces extended the Confederate line and successfully broke the Union's right flank. Confusion ensued as the Northern Army broke apart and retreated. By July 22nd, they reached the safety of Washington.
The Battle of Bull Run. Now, that was a Southern victory in more ways than one. In this battle, they proved to the North, they proved to Lincoln that they were not going down without a fight. And, well, they showed, really, what they were capable of.
Both sides of the war, they were vastly different. You got the Union, yeah. These guys, they had an industrial lifestyle. Slavery to them? No way. They had absolutely striking uniforms, you know? Nice blue and gold colors. And then we have the Confederacy. Farming folks, agricultural, you know? Radical folks, fighting for a real cause. Their color was either gray or whatever they were wearing when they left home.
Many soldiers from both armies were regular people, citizens like you and I. Fighters arrived in whatever clothes they had at home. You would sometimes see Union soldiers wearing gray, or Confederates wearing blue. Some, influenced by the French Zouaves of North Africa, showed up wearing baggy, bright red striped trousers with fezzes or turbans. The Civil War raged on for 3 more beastly years. As the battles wore on, the casualties climbed. Hospitals were filled to full capacity, and buildings such as churches and mansion houses were filled with the wounded and the dead. In these years, many events unfolded, too many in fact that they are too large for the scope of a publicly broadcasted film. In 1863, much to the distress of the Confederacy, Lincoln freed the slaves of the South.
We did it!
Later that year, a strategic opportunity arose for the Union. They would march to Vicksburg and lay siege to the Confederate fort along the Mississippi. The siege lasted 17 grueling days. Finally, on July 4th, Confederate forces collapsed on the anniversary of the founding of our nation. The Union finally gained control of the Mississippi, splitting the Confederate States of America in half.
The Mississippi was the nailhead that held the South's two halves together. Jefferson Davis.
After suffering multiple crushing losses, the Confederates could stand it no longer. Finally, on April 9th, 1865, General Lee surrendered.